Welcome to Press Box. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. Today you're watching a special presentation as we're going to break down the NHL playoffs, talk a little bit about Raptors, Blue Jays, what's going on in the sports world. We're really excited. Again, this is a special presentation. I'm filling in today for our regular sports hosts, Casey McKay and Dave Stevens. Casey's off now doing some work with Easter Seals, I believe, and Dave is actually down in Florida. I believe he's involved with some type of baseball event project, so I'll give you guys update. But I wanted to come on today as talk about the Leafs coming on the playoffs, what's going on. The Raptors got knocked out last night. Good season for them. Blue Jays are near the top of their division, so lots to talk about sports. On today's show, we're really excited as we have our sports podcaster, Bret Willis. Bret's going to come on, tell us all about what's going on in his world, give us his opinion on the playoffs, Blue Jays, Raptors, sporting world. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to sports, so stay tuned. You're watching a special presentation of Press Box. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Press Box. Before we introduce our guests, I do want to say that do check out our website, www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. Enroll in our employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans, and check out all the great events coming up, including our fall September 220 and 2 fundraiser focused on raising funds, awareness, and supporting veterans. So again, we're down here at Artscape. We're in our studio in Toronto. As you can see, one of our producers behind us. It's going. It's a live studio. We love being back in person. So without further ado, let's introduce our first guest. He is a sports podcaster, Bret Willis. Bret, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, Jay. Thanks for having me.
This is great. Now, I've been checking your blogs and everything, your podcast offline. You got quite the following. You're quite knowledgeable. So why don't you give our viewers a little bit of a background on your sports history, and then we'll just get right into all the topics.
You know, I've been a sports fan all my life, and my first love is the NHL and the Maple Leafs, and you know, it all runs downhill from there. I'm a big CFL guy, so there's a lot of people that look at you kind of funny when you say, "Oh yeah, I like the CFL way more than I like the NFL." But I got to give the NFL its props too. I'm a Buffalo Bills guy, and obviously when the Raptors came to town, I was a kid. I was probably about 10, so I'm a big basketball guy too. And you know,
that's great. I love that. I love to hear that when you say you're a sports guy. Like for the CFL, I used to be a CFL guy back when they used to play at the exhibition. So that's a few years going back. I'm still a big supporter of CFL. I mean, you got to be, right? You got to be a big supporter of the Argos. I wish I was more involved. I just find that CFL, they change teams so often, or maybe it's just me, right? I'm more of an NFL guy, but we need CFL fans. We need soccer fans, right? I'm in hunt for a soccer reporter because we're all about the World Cup now. So maybe you can add that to your resume too, Bret, because we want to cover soccer, right? I mean, obviously, right? That'd be great.
It's funny. I'm not a massive soccer fan, but I do appreciate the beautiful game, and obviously TFC here in the Greater Toronto Area, as well as having the Team Canada men qualify for a World Cup for the first time since '86. But you got to give props to the women. The women have been plugging along for I feel like at least a decade, and they're on top of their game, and so we got to give props to them for sure.
I think it's great. Like I said, obviously Canada, we're hockey, hockey bred, hockey live, die, Leafs and everything. But to bring in soccer at this high level and the success we've had, it's nothing but kudos and the soccer players and culture itself. So we'll get into that. Let's flip the switch. Let's talk a little bit. Well, before we get to the Leafs, give me your take on the Raptors season. Obviously, they were bumped out last night by the 76ers. So what do you think about them?
I've you were mentioning that I've got a large social media following, and so I was searching Twitter today and just trying to get a feel of how people felt and whatnot. And there's a lot of people that are about 50-50, and when you go out and lose by 30 points in a game six, it's tough. But they did way better than I thought they were going to. I really did. I suggested that they would probably win in six. I was a little short on that, but I think it was a successful year. The fact that they were out of Canada for at least a season, and then they came back and played in front of fans for the most part, and I think that it makes the game more exciting, and they were under some really tremendous circumstances. So,
Well, no, I agree. And I find that with the team this year, I mean, we missed the Kawhi. We didn't have our superstar, right? And Philly had two superstars, or two really, really, Harding and the other guy. So that's their superstars. We missed the Kawhi, but I thought we did a fabulous job. I think you know what's gonna happen though? I'm looking into my crystal ball, and we are gonna lose Nick Nurse.
we may lose Nick Nurse.
I think so.
I, I think that I honestly don't. I don't fall for that narrative, or I'm not following that narrative. He's under contract with Basketball Canada, and I think he absolutely loves this country, and I think he loves the city. If we lose him, we'll end up rebounding. Pardon the pun, but we'll find somebody else
Oh,
that is more than capable of coaching this team. I'm happy as heck. I've managed to see my basketball team win an NBA championship in my lifetime. So
well, I think it'd be a big mistake if he left because he has the key to Toronto and he's from here. And I think it'd be a big mistake, and I think he would regret it. Like so many people that have left Toronto organizations, whether that's basketball like Vince Carter or the Leafs or the Blue Jays, they always say, I should have stayed. I should have stayed in Toronto. The people are great. It's a world class city. It's safe. And I was treated like a king. Why did I go? Why did I leave? So hopefully he won't leave, but I think the bright lights and the big money is going to take him away. But we'll see. So I want to congratulate the Raptors on a great season. Let's move it on. Let's say the playoffs for a little bit. Let me hear your take on the early season of the Jays.
you know, these Blue Jays are so exciting to watch, and everything everything seems to be falling into place right now. But I mean, when you're less than 20 games into the season, you don't count your chickens before they hatch, especially when baseball is a marathon and not a sprint. 162 games could go either way, and like I said, they have all the pieces in place to run the table, but there's a lot of factors that need to take place in order for them to be successful. They need to stay healthy. They need to make sure that their starters pitch at least 6 innings per game. They need to make sure that their bullpen is healthy and effective. And honestly, it's baseball is such a funny sport because it's not only a pitcher needs to pitch, but a hitter needs to hit, a fielder needs to field. There's so many factors involved for success, and how often does that happen on a given day, on a given week, in a given season?
No, I think it's true. I think they're well on their way to a successful season. Couple points I would probably make right now. I think their bats are coming around slowly. I mean, they had a big quick out of the gate. Vladdy hit 5 home runs in 8 games, but now he's been quiet for the last 10 games or whatever. So I think the bats will come around. I think Hernandez getting hurt set us back a little. Good thing we have some nice bats. George Springer. I mean, George Springer barely played last year, so we have him kind of for the first time this year for a full season so far. I think we're gonna miss Marcus Simeon, but I think we're replacing him, and I love our rotation. I got my producer saying, let's take a quick break. Let's come back and finish some more Blue Jays, and then we'll hop right into the playoffs and how the Leafs are going to do this year. You're watching a special presentation of Press Box. On the show today, we have sports podcaster Bret Willis. He's telling us all about his take on the Leafs, the Blue Jays, the Raptors. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back as we're going to dive into the Leafs in a few minutes. You're watching Press Box. We'll be right back.
All about inclusion and really giving everyone a fair say.
Welcome to the Today Show. This is our flagship show. I am Unstoppable Tracy.
I am Zach Damon.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am excited. What is up?
We have a great show today.
Jay Stoyan here for the Disability Channel, the world's only inclusive channel for and by persons with disabilities.
Get ready to be inspired, everyone.
We have people watching from all over the world, but also all over Ontario.
We also take a concerted attention in the veterans community.
In moments of stress and trauma, we can get a hold of ourselves.
To help make a difference for people with disabilities, to show people how to love themselves or their disability.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, giving this platform for myself and other people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this episode of the Disability Channel of Detroit. Please tune in next time.
We're just talking a little bit about the Blue Jays. I just wanted to touch on the rotation, as I think we may have the rotation in baseball. We got a lot of good arms, a lot of young guys. I love our bats, but you got to be careful of, like, I was watching the West, right, the other day. The Dodgers and the Giants and the Padres, they're just loaded with talent. I think if we got the best player in baseball, I think Vladdy's the best player in baseball. Manoah is just a beast. So I think it's going to be, like you said, Brad, I think it's going to be fun to watch the Blue Jays this year. What I don't like is the way they show off. I don't like how they show off with the home run jacket, and I just don't like that. Like, don't show that it's not your first home run. Like, do a Barry Sanders. Just hand the ball off and go to the dugout. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't like that.
I think you come from an older era, which is fine, Jay. I totally understand your take on that. I think it makes the game more exciting, especially when the Greater Toronto area it's predominantly a Maple Leaf town. Even in the springtime, even in the summertime. You have a really hard time packing that Rogers Center. So anything that they can do to make the game a little bit more exciting, their product more exciting, it's all about marketing. And this home run jacket, as you call it,
yeah,
it's a marketing tool, and it's been extremely successful. And I don't see it going away anytime soon.
I don't mind the home run jacket. I just wish they would tailor down their excitement, because, like, let's take Drake, for example. When the Raptors are winning, Drake's all happy, high five and smile, la la. And when they're losing, he is the biggest crybaby in the world. Like, I watch him, it's like, well, you can't have it both ways, Drake. You're all happy when they're winning, but when the team's losing, you start, like, whining on the side and yelling at the other players. You can't do that. You got to be a pro on both sides. That's my take, a little bit.
I think with Drake, as a fan, and I'll use fan in quotes, because he's obviously a international recording artist, and Drake can do pretty much whatever he wants. He's the ambassador to the team, unofficial ambassador, this done wonders for this organization. He's helped put them on the map, from a I don't know what the word is, but outside of sports.
Well, he brought his he's brought his high profile to the team, obviously, because he is a worldwide performer and one of the best if you like that type of music. But all props to him. I just think he should, tone it down. Like, don't be like Spike Lee, and don't do like, you know what I mean? Just take it easy a little bit on the sidelines. But that's just my take. I guess I'm a little bit more conservative, and like you said, I come from a different era where, if you were a showboater on the ice back in the 70s, guess what? You're going to get it from somebody on the other side, or maybe somebody from your own team. Like, settle down.
And you know what? Things happen, and the game evolves, whether we're talking about basketball or we're just touching a little bit on hockey there. The game evolves, and circumstances occur where the game must evolve. And I honestly, again, personally, I do think it's great. You were just touched on Spike Lee there. He's there with the Knicks. He's their super fan, so to speak. And I know that Jack there with the Lakers. Everybody knows where Jack sits when he's in the crypto.
Yeah, so I guess we have our own guy. Yeah, and we got Bieber too, right? For the Leafs, right? So.
Well, I mean, I don't think we should admit that to too many people.
So let's transition now. Let's talk some NHL playoffs. So before we get to the Leafs, I'm just going to give you the list of the other matchups and just give me each team, quickly. So right now it's Florida versus Washington.
Oh, I don't think you can ever go against Ovi, but Florida is just such a good, solid team. They are honestly their forwards are great. They picked up Giroux. Bobrovsky had a little bit of a rough go there for a bit, but Knight picked it up a little bit, and then their back end is fairly strong. There's not a lot of household names there, but they really are a solid team. I see them winning in maybe 6.
I'll go Florida too. Yeah, I'll go Florida. I think Washington is they've been through the grinder. They're a little longer in the tooth. Florida's hungry. They picked up some key acquisitions. So we both go Florida. We're going to leave Leafs in Tampa for the end. Carolina and Boston. Ooh.
Being a Leafs fan or being from the Greater Toronto area, I really don't like Boston. They've broke my heart far too many times in the last decade. So I would really like to see Carolina win. I think they can. I think that Frederick Anderson has finally found his groove, and he's got a capable backup in Antti Ranta, who they're like a two-headed monster. And I think that that's extremely important when you're playing in the NHL playoffs. You need a two-headed monster in the event that your first guy isn't playing well or goes down. So I see them winning in maybe 5 or 6.
So Carolina. See, I would go Boston normally, but they don't have Tuukka Rask anymore, and they don't have Chara. So are they still the Boston Bruins? But they got Marchand, and they got Bergeron, and they got Pasternak, and they just know how to win. I'm still going to go Boston because I don't believe in Freddie. I think he's good. I don't think he's good enough. So I'm going to go Boston. Rangers and Pittsburgh. Oh, another great matchup.
Oh, good. No, that's easy. Pittsburgh in 4.
Oh, you go Pitt because of Sid?
Pittsburgh in 4. You cannot go against Sidney Crosby.
They got the number 1 goalie, though. Rangers got the number 1. And they got Chris Kreider scored 52 goals this year. I mean,
they've got Chris Kreider. They've got Adam Fox. They have they have Shesterkin. They're a really good hockey club, but the experience really will pay off for the Penguins.
Is Gino okay? Gino healthy?
I don't know if he is, but you know what? Like, they're not going to be leaning on their top 2 guys for a 7-game series. This is a team sport. It's not leaning on one guy or another guy.
I want to go Pitt. I'll go Pitt just because of Sid. I'll go Pitt too, but I don't know. Okay, out west now, Calgary and Nashville. You got to go Calgary.
Calgary in a sweep. They are.
Gotta go Calgary. Edmonton and the Kings.
I think that this is Edmonton's year to shine. And you have to consider that the Kings are finally back in the playoffs after missing a number of years. So
you got to go Edmonton. You got to go Edmonton. I mean,
I think they win in 6.
Colorado and Dallas. Colorado?
Yes, but there's a caveat involved because they've had some injuries.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody expected Dallas to make the playoffs.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I guess it ought to be. I go Calgary as long as they can withhold their injuries, because they have had some, like Landeskog got hurt and McKinnon, like a lot of all their top stars got hurt. So we'll see.
Kadri was hurt for a while, and I mean he's really fit in since he's left. Since he left Toronto, he's really fit in.
And what do you think about the Jamie Benn and Seguin? Do you think they still got enough in the tank to make it a series?
Yes. I don't think you can really go against Benn or Seguin, but it might be close. It might go 7.
Okay, in the last series, then we're going to take a quick break and come back and do the Leafs. So give us Minnesota and St. Louis.
Minnesota.
Tough series. That's going to be a tough series.
Minnesota, but it's going to go 7 because you can't really count on St. Louis, especially towards the back half of the year. They started off very, very slow. They looked awful the first half of the season. Jordan Binnington just did not look like himself, but Minnesota's just been firing on all cylinders. They picked up a bunch of guys, or at least a couple of pieces at the trade deadline that make them tougher to play against. So I think it probably goes 6.
That's going to be a good crash and bang series because they're both real big teams that like to play physical. So let's take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to dissect the Leafs. And I think that would be the show for today. So stay tuned. We're going to come back, and we're going to go through the Leafs and their potential chances in the first round versus Tampa Bay. You're watching Press Box. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour. As Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, I'm delighted to offer my best wishes for success to the many friends and staff of the Disability Channel for your October 12th fundraiser in support of employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans. Removing barriers wherever they exist, creating accessible spaces, and promoting greater equity are all central to this province's efforts to rebuild from the COVID-19 pandemic. So help us to ensure a more inclusive and resilient future, one that works for everybody. Please accept my thanks and encouragement. Keep up your inspiring and dedicated work. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.
Welcome back to the show. On our show today, we have sports podcaster Bret Willis. We're just breaking down the NHL playoffs coming up, talking a little bit about Raptors, Blue Jays, the NFL draft, the World Cup coming. So we're all over the place. We had our predictions. So let's go to the Leafs and Tampa. So first of all, give me a prediction, and then we'll break it down.
Leafs in 6.
Leafs in 6. Okay, I'll go Leafs in 7. You can never bet against the Leafs. So I'll go Leafs in 7. What do you think what's gonna take it for you for the Leafs to win this series? What do the Leafs have to do?
You know, I think the biggest thing is that they need to stay healthy. They need to get all their guys back before the playoffs. And I'm glad that they're resting who they're resting before the playoffs start, because after 82 games, you know that somebody's hurt, and they're going to have a long summer afterwards. I really am extremely encouraged that Matthews scored 60 goals this year. It's the first time since Stammer scored 60. It's the first time the Leafs have had a 50-goal scorer since, I believe, Rick Vive, which is slightly before my time.
I remember Vive. Yeah, I remember Vive. I remember those days.
It's Matthews scored 100 points, which is the first time, I believe, since Andrechuk in the early 90s.
Yeah, him and Dougie.
So, I mean, and then they've got a great cast around Austin Matthews. Mitch Marner's got 97 points. They've got guys who they've exceeded expectations individually. The addition of Mark Giordano is probably the best pickup out of anybody that made the playoffs this year.
That's a good analogy. I would say the Giordano pickup would probably be the best pickup the Leafs have done since like Dave Andrechuk. Like really, like, you know, and that it just popped into my head because Dave Andrechuk was so awesome for us. But seriously, he's just solidified the back end. Timothy Liljegren, the guy looks like the next Bobby Orr. Not really, but he's like really benefited from Giordano on his side there. My take on the playoffs is, I will say, I mean, obviously being a Leaf fan, you never go against your team, but you gotta beat the champ, like two-time champ. And I tell you, this is my take. Jack has to play above average, doesn't have to steal the series, but he has to play above average, really steady. But 34 needs to lead the series. He has to be the best player in this series. He has to carry us, because you know who's going to carry the other team on the other side. You know it's going to be Stamkos. You know Stamkos is going to be showing up for this playoff series. He shows up all the time. We need Austin Matthews to lead this series, and he's capable of doing it. It's time for him to take charge. And Mitch has to be noticed. Like Mitch cannot go silent in these playoffs again. You know, they can't do the same thing they've done for 5 years. They got to show up.
I'm really encouraged with this idea that they didn't re-sign Hyman and they replaced him with Michael Bunting. I think Michael Bunting is far and away 10 times better than Hyman is. I think he's a lot more physical. I think that his passer rating, or at least his passing in general, is a lot better. He's really managed to make Austin Matthews look a lot better than Hyman actually ever did. The guy likes to go into the corners, which is great, because you really don't want a guy like Matthews in the corners. I'm excited with all four lines. I think that they've got the role players finally that they needed. I know that they've been swapping out Spezza with Simmons, and
which is fine. Keep them fresh.
When you got guys that are in their late 30s, you need that dynamic where you can actually just swap guys in and out of the lineup without any hesitation, and they've managed to do that.
We got a lot of great pieces. Like, I love Mikheyev and Engel on the third line with Kemp. I think our third line is super. If Kasi comes back, which he was skating in practice, he said he'll be back probably maybe. Well, he's not playing tonight, but he'll be back next week with Bunting. So I think we put Kasi in there, put Bunting back on the first line, obviously with his two teammates, put Mikheyev with either probably Tavares and Nylander. I mean, we got a lot of good pieces, and we can substitute our back end. We got Justin Hall who can step in. Sandin's coming back. So I think, and I like our backup goalie. I like the what is he, the Swedish guy or Finnish guy?
Yeah.
Shalgren. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, Shalgren is really impressed. He was really brought into a really sticky situation with Mrazek being as broken as he is, and you know,
that was unfortunate.
I said during the offseason that I was excited that they were giving him an opportunity, but I didn't think it was going to last. And here we are relying on a backup goalie that has very little experience. And I really hope we don't get our need to throw him into the fire.
Well, this has been great, Brett. Really thankful for you coming on and breaking down your thoughts on the playoffs and the Blue Jays and the Raptors. And if people want to find out more information, Brett, do you have any handles that people can go to on social media or anything like that?
I do have some handles on social media.
Okay.
On Instagram, I am Bretsky1984.
Okay.
And on Twitter, I believe I'm the same. Bretsky1984 on Twitter. So,
great. Well, yeah, follow Brett. He's got a lot of great insight on sports, and Brett's going to be actually becoming a regular on our channel as he's big in a podcast world, and he's going to be giving his analyst for the playoffs, whether that's the Leafs or the Blue Jays. You're going to see Brett doing a lot more stuff for us during the summer months. I do want to thank Casey and Dave. They run the show for us. I just stepped in today as they were had previous assignments. This is really exciting. If people want to find out more about the channel or the show or be a guest, just go to our website, www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back and wrap the show with some updates, some announcements, some opportunities. So stay tuned. Brett, I want to thank you for being on the show today. And we'll be in touch.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back to wrap the show.
Hi, this is Dave Stevens with the Disability Channel.
An inability to break out. I'm sitting by the door on the second floor, losing my 7-year war. It's not an illusion, so why the exclusion?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's about you. So.
Say you're a disability dynamo.
Joining me, and welcome to this beautiful Travelers Championship.
I only want one accolade from you.
So my story is unique, it's amazing, but it's not anything that you guys don't have inside of you. I'm not a hero, I'm not anybody special, I'm just this guy without legs that went out, and I just did it.
Stats outweigh the Democrats, the diplomats, and the bureaucrats.
This is probably your first interview down on the ground on your butt and stuff like
First
that?
time ever,
All
baby.
right.
Eliminate, invalidate, invalidate, invalidate.
Stay with us and the Disability Channel.
Welcome back to the show. Wow, that was great. So we did a special presentation of breaking down the NHL playoffs here on Press Box. I stepped in for Dave and Casey, our regular host. We had on our sports podcaster, Bret Wills. He broke down the playoffs for us, give us his opinions, his point of views. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Again, I just want to make a quick couple announcements before we close the shop for today. Let me just go through my notes quickly here. Check out, we're going to be having our fundraiser focusing on supporting veterans later this year in the fall season down at Artscape here. We're going to give out more information. We do have a new show coming out. Check out our Zen show. We're going to be coming out with that 24/7 supporting veterans in employment circles through our employment program. So we appreciate all the support. Next week, we're going to be out in the Halton. We're going to showcase the Oakville Fire Department. Ooh, the big red machines, the men and women who are pillars in our community. So we're going to be going out there. We're doing lots of things, Cleveland Clinic, Massey Hall, Ottawa, the ministers. So lots of stuff going on. Again, if you want to get involved with the channel, you want to enroll in our programs, you want to get a job in media, give us a call at www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. I'm Jay Stoyan. You're watching a special presentation of Press Box. We'll see you next time.